never talked to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
There we go. What is going on, Florida State family? Seminole Nation, in the 863 tribe. It is your boy POLK, a.k.a. A-Lo, a.k.a. the goddamn truth. Go ahead and hit that like. Share the video. Let them know on a Tuesday. Usually we on Wednesdays, but today we on Tuesday. I got something going down on Wednesday, so won't be able to dedicate my time on here for Wednesday. But Tuesday is the night tonight. And on this night, we talk some Louisiana football. Not sure there's much to talk about with the good old Raging Cajuns, but we'll take a look at them, man. We'll take a look at the Raging Cajuns tonight. Probably won't spend too much time on them, but we will take a look at them. And then we're gonna. I really want to touch on, where this program's going, or potentially going, right? And what are still maybe some of the roadblocks that are potentially in the way, but I think everybody probably has a fairly positive outlook right now. So I want to touch on that, and obviously we'll talk some transfer portal stuff as the transfer portal is being projected. If you haven't been tracking some of the names that are being projected to hit that portal, they're expecting an insane offseason, and I tend to agree. And I don't even think it's the players that are maybe the most important deal. I think FSU has one thing more important than the players that we have to address this offseason, and we'll talk about that. So we're going to hit up on all of that tonight because I ain't got nothing but time. Not really. Can't stay up too late. Do have to work tomorrow, unfortunately. But I got a decent amount of time tonight. So we're going to hit up off on all of that. But we'll start off with Louisiana first. But before we do anything, y'all know what we got to do, right? We got to pay these bills. And how do we pay these bills? By y'all hitting that like button, sharing that video, share the live stream on Twitter, whatever you got, share it. Facebook groups, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. Drop the link to the video. Let them know where we at. Let them know, in my opinion, the realest, the dopest Florida State show on the entire internet. You're only going to get the type of interaction that you're going to get. You're only going to get it here. So first of all, do that and hit the like button and get in these comment sections because we about to hit this roll call, baby. So let me scroll up to the top of the comments. Getting these comments. Chris Robinson, as always. Orlando on the check-in. What's going on, Chris? Boxing Monster, member of the 863 Tribe. FSU Rose, member of the 863 Tribe. Panama Jack. Peter Shields, member of the 863 Tribe. Briley. Pat, 1984. Jonathan McIntosh. Tyler Hedden, member of the 863 Tribe. Black Shear Knoll. Anthony Sanders, Champ 99, Florida State Love, member 863 Tribe, Pretty No Girl Sherry, and Loading's in the building. I think William Wright's in the building, and I'm pretty sure more will trickle in as we continue. It is a Tuesday, and I'm pretty sure everybody wasn't expecting me to go live on a Tuesday, so probably why we have the low turnout that we have, but that's fine. I'm grateful for everybody that's in the comment section right now. I actually didn't plan on going live on Tuesday, but stuff pops up on Wednesday, so here we are tonight, and that is okay. If you don't catch me live, if you didn't catch me live, I'll say this now: if you didn't catch me live, that means you're catching me now on the back end, and that's fine. Thank you for joining me. But for everybody who's here live tonight, let's not waste any more of your time or mine. And I'm gonna look up these Louisiana Raging Cajuns because I'm just curious. I'll be lying if I said I watched a single football game of the Raging Cajuns. So we're gonna look them up. Raging Cajun football. So right now, Louisiana Raging Cajuns. They are 5-5. So they play in the Sun Belt. If you're not aware, okay, they are 5-5. They average 26.6 points per game. Florida State averages 34 even a game. They average 368.7 yards per game. Florida State pretty much averages over 100 yards more than they do at 477.1. They give up 21.2 a game, which is interesting that they give up 21, score 26, but have a 5-5 record. That's kind of interesting. FSU gives up 18.1. Opponent yards per game. They give up a lot of yards, so I expect us to get a lot of yards. 354 yards a game. FSU gives up 293 a game. They beat us in turnovers. As we know, we don't cause a lot of turnovers. We've had a couple interceptions the last couple weeks, so that's been good to see from Greedy Vance. But we're not a team that generates a lot of turnovers. They have 13 on the year. We only have 12, so they have the nod there. They have 69 penalties on the year. We have 74. So I would say they seem to be a decently disciplined team for the fact I don't think FSU's a bad. We've had some games where we haven't been disciplined, but we've had some games where we've been really, really tight knit. So we have more penalties, and of course that means we have more penalty yards. So those are pretty much the rough numbers of the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. They're 7th in the Sun Belt, and again at 5-5. I'm trying to look at their schedule to see what some of these games. Like I want to see who they played. Who did they play? Come on, give me their schedule. Don't give me. I don't want to. I don't want to see the upcoming games. I want to see what games they have already played. Let's just go to. Here we go. Alrighty. So they started off 2-0. They beat Southeastern Louisiana and then Eastern Michigan. They lost to Rice 33-21, Louisiana Monroe 21-17, South Alabama 2017. Then they beat Marshall team that beat Notre Dame. They beat Arkansas State handily 38-18. Lost to Southern Miss. That's the same Southern Miss team that gave Miami problems. They lost to them 39-24. Then they lost to Troy 23-17, and they beat Georgia Southern. So they are coming off of a win, 36-17. I'll say this, just by looking at, they haven't gotten handled in many games. Their worst loss is either Southern Miss or Rice. Y'all can do the math there. They lost to Rice 33-21. So what is that, a 12-point loss? And then they lost to Southern Miss 39-24. So those are the two worst losses there, both double digits. But, I mean, they're losing to Troy 23-17. They're losing, that's a touchdown. They're losing to Southern Alabama by 3. They're losing to Louisiana Monroe by 4. 5-5 team, but they've played it. I think they've played just about everybody on that schedule tough. However, that schedule really doesn't have any heavy hitters. We are really the only big out of conference team they play. No heavy hitters. I mean, Marshall's a good team though. Again, Marshall did beat that Notre Dame team, but even Marshall's only 6-4. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, come on. I'm giving Louisiana a little bit more respect than I've given some of these other programs, right? Because we're actually talking about them. But the truth is, yeah, like I see Corey, like we should see Duffy in this one. I think they purposely left Duffy out the last game so he can get some playing time in this game specifically. This game should be over by the third quarter. I don't think there's any right. There's no. Are we really going to do this tonight? I don't think we are. Right. There's no worry here. At least I don't see it. And right, like Tyler said, and I've been saying it all year. We have things that we can criticize, right? But the one thing they have not done this year, they have not played down the competition. We're on 3 straight blowouts. I fully expect for Florida to roll into Tallahassee, and we have 4 straight blowouts. This team has not played down the competition. They've played up to the level of their opponents, in my opinion, and then the opponents that they should destroy, like JV teams and Coral Gables and the Georgia Techs and the Syracuses and the Boston colleges. They've dismantled them, right? They've dismantled them. So, yeah, we won't waste too much time on Louisiana because honestly, yeah, they probably are better than Duquesne. I don't disagree. Is Louisiana better than they might be better than Georgia Tech? Might be. I don't think they would beat Syracuse. And again, I don't even think Syracuse is all that. I think they might beat Georgia Tech. Like I think Georgia Tech, and that's the question I was just asking, right? They might beat Georgia Tech. I think that's a game that would be a close game. Hell, Miami would give them a game. Like they could probably beat. Excuse me, I don't even know why I said that. They could probably beat that JV team, that JV football team down south, because they've played the Southern Misses and teams like that and struggled with them. So Louisiana would give that JV team down south a run for their money. But other than that, guys, I think we know 4 straight going into the last game of the season. And is it me, or does this Florida State game feel like, because let's give credit where it's due, right? Florida's winning as well. Florida has a little win streak going. They play Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt did just beat Kentucky last week, a Kentucky team that beat the Gators. So I don't know if that game is necessarily a given for the Gators. But they should beat Vanderbilt. And is it me, back to my original question, is it me, or is this Florida State game starting to feel kind of big? Like, there's some energy around this game that I'm starting to like. It's starting to feel, I don't want to go too far like old school days, but there's some juice around this game that there was no juice around the JV game. Like, they tried to make it some juice, but we talked about it here. Like, yeah, it's a rivalry game, but if you just look at those two teams, they don't belong on the same football field, right? But is it me, or does this just feel like there's a little bit of juice here? Like, that's just how I feel. I feel like I'm very excited for, and of course, y'all know I value the Florida State rivalry. That is the game for me, right? That's the hated rival for me. So maybe I'm just a little bit more excited than others. But I really feel like I think the Friday night thing throws it off a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I know it's contrary to what you're saying, Tyler, because it's a Friday night game, so it will be the only night game. So definitely, everybody gonna be eating Thanksgiving leftovers for sure. Watching that one. But it does the Friday night. I worry a little bit about it being on Friday with you trying to make people travel on Thanksgiving, and it's like I don't really feel like the players can really enjoy Thanksgiving as much as they maybe normally would. They're gonna be throwing up on the field, all of that kind of stuff. Who knows? The Friday thing kind of throws it off a little bit, but I really feel like I feel like there's some juice around this game. I feel like both fan bases are kind of excited about this game. I mean, Florida should go in this thing with a chance to win 8 games. They should be what 7-4 going into this game, and FSU will be 8-3 going into this game with a chance to fulfill my prophecy of 9 wins. Who would have thunk it? So I'm excited, man. I am excited for this. Yes, we're looking to pass Louisiana, but I gave Louisiana a little respect. We went over the numbers, we talked about them, but again, seriously, is there anybody in the chat? And there's 41 people in here, by the way. So hit that like button if you're just now joining. But is there anybody who like legitimately thinks Louisiana could pull a upset win? I'm just curious. Anybody that wants to give Louisiana a little bit more time? Should we look at I don't know. What should we look at, man? Should we look at advanced metrics for this Louisiana game, or are we pretty confident here? John says I think it's worse for UF having to travel. Yeah, no, I agree. Like I think it's worse for everybody though. Like I'm worried that there might not be. Like I pretty much guarantee if this was a Saturday, this game would probably be sold out. I'm not sure it's going to be sold out on a Friday night. I could be wrong, but I'm not so sure. Not so sure. Man, try saying that fast. A lot of S's there. Not so sure. I'm not so sure that it would be sold out on the Friday night, day after Thanksgiving. Then again, football fans are crazy. You've had football fans miss weddings, miss births of children. Like, you never know, actually. Actually wouldn't surprise me. Tyler might be right. Maybe it's been sold out for forever, so I could be absolutely dead wrong there. And like I said, football fans are nuts. People will throw their family to the wind when it comes to a big-time football game. So Pretty Girl says they said Schrader was a threat. Yeah, we absolutely. Again, they don't have a player on that team like Schrader, at least not to my knowledge. I'm just trying to I show Louisiana more respect than I show that JV team down south. So I'm just trying to show Louisiana a little bit of respect and try to give them their just due, you know. But fair enough. Nobody wants to talk really more about the Raging Cajuns. I mean, Monty Mom says the Cajuns got great speed. It's not straight, it's great. Man, people miss the Thanksgiving to go stand in line. You right. Yeah, Black Friday. And Black Friday's another thing, though. Like, that's usually when people are standing in there. I never do Black Friday. I don't know about any of y'all. I first of all, I'd have to like kill somebody if I did one of those. I'm not gonna fight you over like a Barbie doll or a TV. Like, I just avoid those. I've never done Black Friday. I don't do large crowds like that. I hate standing in line for anything other than a roller coaster. So I can't do Black Friday. I think this game might have been an issue had we not had gone through that JSU shit from last year. I don't think Norvell will let us overlook anyone. We're past Jacksonville State, so I'm not even worried about it. Obviously, this team is past that. So I agree with you, VJ. Like you said before, we can look ahead because, yeah, thank you. I try to tell you guys that all the time. We as fans, we can look ahead. It's the coach's job to make sure the players are not looking ahead. Treat Louisiana just like you treated Syracuse, Georgia Tech, and the JV football team down south. Treat the Louisiana just like you treated those guys. Here comes the co-host, people.
Hey, Daddy.
What's up, man? Can you turn? Can I turn this down, or can you go watch that in your room?
No,
You go watch it in Dre's room.
no. I'm going to stay with you.
But can you turn it down?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Let me help you,
okay.
cause yeah, nobody wants to hear whatever that is you're watching. Okay?
Okay.
I don't even know what. Okay. Yep. Co-host comes in, steals the show. That's what he does. Where were we? We were talking about showing respect and all those other things.
No.
JT said he wants to blow out everyone. We should be ready for Florida. We had 3 tune-up games for them. I agree with that.
Sorry, Lily.
Anybody see who all has seen the Black Panther?
Who likes
I absolutely. There's a lot of things going on with that movie that I really enjoyed. I loved that movie. I would argue something about that movie I think is better than the first one. And maybe some people would disagree with that. I think the first one, in my opinion, was a little overrated. This one, would just, you know what, if you haven't seen it, we won't talk about it. We'll talk about it another time. I'll let some of y'all continue to go see it. But I think they did a lot of things well in this one that I enjoyed. Every time. What up, Zay? Some belt teams have been challenging this year, but Mike Norvell and J Trav will have those boys focused. The only thing we need to talk about is this Louisiana game. Is that Duffy needs a quarter plus. I'm with you. At least a quarter. At least a quarter. Forget the turkey. I'm rolling up from Omaha, Nebraska to Tally. Man, Omaha, Nebraska. Go this weekend. Yeah, go see the movie, man, and then we can talk about it. Hell, I'll do a whole live stream for it. I think it's definitely worth talking about. Jamie got Senior Bowl. Lovett got Senior Bowl. I mean, we knew. So we knew Jamie was coming back for a one and done. I think we all knew that, right? I think we all also knew that Lovett was coming back for a one and done. The thing with Lovett was he had that stretch of missing games where I wasn't sure if he did himself justice, but I think with Lovett coming back after the injury, he kind of proved that, and one thing I need to do, you know how at the beginning of each year I do like the top 20 or whatever number I usually do, most important players at Florida State or, for the upcoming season. I got to see where I put Lovett in that ranking. I got to go back and see. Because I think I had Briggs as like 1 or 2. And so I was on base with thinking it would be a guy on the defensive line. I just thought Briggs being more versatile, being able to play multiple positions would make him more valuable. But Lovett might have been the most valuable player on the entire defensive line this year. Matter of fact, there's probably not even no might. He was the most valuable player on this entire defense. And you saw it because they're an entirely different defense when he's in the game. To be fair, though, and I've kind of said this too, we also played some bad offensive teams. It just so happened we got healthy as other teams got really bad. But that's okay. I don't really care because no one made those excuses when we were injured and people was beating us, right? So I don't, that's football. It happens. Next man up, as they say. Tara says, I don't watch TV or movies. Only exception is college football. It's been about 6 years since I left television. You don't watch TV or movies? Except for football. Man. I'm not a big TV watcher myself. There are a few shows that I'll check out. I'm not a big TV watcher. So I'm with you there. But I like me a good movie. But I'm with you there. I'm not really a big TV watcher myself. We went out. Which bowl game you think we get called? That's a tough one to predict, right? I can't miss Thanksgiving. That's why I'm never going to see a FSU game in person. I may need to Florida or Georgia to not miss both. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. Do we think Brown and Sam can step in for Dan? Well, I think Brown has already shown that he has. We talked about this after the Cuse game. If you go look, and this just off the top, right? I can't really verify this, but I don't want to say he started because I don't know if he started, but very early in that game, Shaheem Brown's playing safety and Jamie's now. Fuller in an interview said that Shaheem is their starting dime DB. So I don't know if they were in a dime package that early. I would have to go back and really see. And all that stuff I don't remember. But what I'm almost positive is that Shaheem got the nod at safety and they moved Jamie down to nickel. We didn't see Greedy or number 3. We didn't see Greedy or number 3 early in that game. And anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just what I remember off the top of my head. But I see some blasphemous comments that I have to address here in a second. But I'm gonna get to that. Why hasn't recruiting picked up for us, but others are doing better, like Florida? Well, Irv, Florida, Miami, they still have new car smells. Well, not so much I called him Miami again. My bad. The JV team down south, that car smells kind of, right? That's kind of sour. Somebody spilled some milk in there, and that's going sour in there. Florida has had their struggles. I've said this before. Look at Florida's overall schedule, and they actually have a chance to finish with 7 or 8 wins. Florida's in a decent position, and new coaches always have that kind of buffer period where I think players are just excited to play for the new guy. I told y'all back in, I don't know, was it August, that I felt like the 2023 class was kind of cooked. And I don't want to, I keep telling y'all, I'm not going to talk about recruiting. I do think we have a chance to finish very good. I think we have a chance to finish decent. I think we still can finish with a top 15 class. I think it's possible. Don't know if it'll happen, but I think it's possible. But the 2023 class is kind of cooked, man. But if you can sign a top 15 class and address the portal, and then get a decent amount of, obviously you're probably losing Jamie and Fabian, but if you can get some of these other guys, you can get Bethune and Deloach to run it back and convince Verse to try to run it back. Like if you can convince some of these guys to run it back for another year, 7 to 8 portal additions this year. We'll talk about that in a second. Thanksgiving is such a mid-holiday. Tyler. I'm a fat boy. Thanksgiving is the only holiday that really matters. And I ain't talking about the meaning behind it. To hell with the meaning behind it. I'm just a fat dude that likes to eat. So as far as I'm concerned, how can you dare? What is a better holiday? All them other holidays, you got to spend money, and all them other holidays are for kids. Halloween's for kids, and Christmas for kids, and man, Thanksgiving is the only holiday that matters. No, I think Sydney's still a safety. I just think he got passed up by 38, and then it happens. What's up, Chad? Trying to tell you, man. Thanksgiving is for eating. I said what I said. I hear you. 4th of July is okay, just because you can get on that grill and as a grown man, lighting fireworks can be a sight to see. Me and my brother was lighting fireworks a couple years ago. It can be a sight to see. Halloween, no. Easter, whatever. Irv, it's really late into recruiting season this year. A lot of kids. Yeah, that's the 2023 class is kind of cooked, man. You can try to get some stragglers, some guys that are still out there, but I have no idea why kids want to go to UM, the JV team down south. It's the middle of the hood, and Gainesville is a hard no. Tally's the best, both worlds with the HBCU there too. Well, you always need that I don't agree with. You always need the high school kids because you not only do you always need depth, but you need to develop those guys. So you always are going to need the high school kids. Always going to need the high school kids. I just think there's a proper balance between the two. And I do think you can, if you take the right portal guys, you can build something. I think you went out this year. I think next year's recruiting can really jump off. Yeah, 4th of July is a good one, but other than that, the other holidays, I'm not really. And that's true too. 4th of July in Texas, period. Not just Dallas, but Texas. Whew, miserable. We ranked 19 in the college football playoff. That's what's up. I really don't care and didn't care. None of that matters. If you're not in the top 4, then I feel like they should only do a top 4 reveal in these college football playoff rankings, because until they expand this thing to 8 and 12, which I do think we eventually definitely get there, all the way at 19, what does that even mean? Only the top 4 teams matter for the college football playoff, right? So, if they beat Vandy convincingly, it's a possibility that they could get into the rankings, right? It's a possibility. Zay, don't do it, bro. Like Zay, you know I love you. You're one of the few Miami fans I respect, but don't do that to a high school. Don't do it, man. Just see, this is what we talk about, bro, with the Miami fans. Excuse me, the JV football. Like, y'all do this. Y'all put this is the beginning. Malik Bryant is gonna be like Micah Parsons. Just like y'all were, Mario's winning 11, 12, at worst 10 games year 1. Don't do it, man. Just chill, enjoy it. Hopefully, y'all sign a good class. I saw y'all already had one guy flip to Florida. I saw y'all had a guy hit the transfer portal today. Just chill. Hope you land a good class. That the guys you got stick. And hope Mario hits the portal hard and y'all can put together a team and compete, for 6-7 games next year and continue to build. But when you start saying these ridiculous things, you're doing what y'all always do. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. Just say, you know what, man? I think Malik's a real good player and I'm happy for his future. I think he's going to prosper here at JV football team South. Just say that. Don't attach names to it, bro. Don't attach names to it. Because when you start attaching names to things, you set a very unreal expectation and receipts will get pulled. And when this kid is struggling in year 1, come on, just don't do it to yourself. Just say he's a talented high school kid, and I think he's going to have I think he's going to be a decent player. Just tempt your expectations, bro. I did not say he's going to be Parsons. He's going to be used to get to the QB. Don't twist my words up. Okay, let's see what he said. He said, Malik Bryant is going to be a werewolf on defense, something like how Micah Parsons is used. See, you could have just said Malik Bryant is going to be a werewolf on defense. You could have ended there. That could have just ended it. You could have just said that. Right? Or if you want to take it a step further, you could have said Malik Bryant is going to be a werewolf. They're going to use him as a linebacker off the edge, an outside rusher. Like, you could have just said that. And people, you put Micah Parsons in there. There's other names that you could have put in there or just not dropped the name. So, Zay, it's okay, man. It's okay. Have we ever had a player from down south JV team? Have we? That's a great question. I'm actually not too sure. I'm actually not too sure about that answer. With that said, let's talk about, man, FSU and where we go, or where we're going. Not where we go, but where exactly is FSU going, right? And we ask this question because it's like there's, that light at the end of the tunnel that I was talking about. Like, I don't know if we've entered it or we're just right on the precipice, right? But there's still some hurdles, in my opinion. And I don't necessarily think they're big hurdles. But this offseason, and this all ties into the offseason of this crazy offseason that I think is going to happen here, right? Now, Auburn job's still open. A lot of people think not Lincoln Riley, I'm sorry. A lot of people think Matt Rule's getting that Nebraska job, which probably happens, right? But there's just, we got some schools that are open. You got the portal that's supposed to be on fire. And I almost want to say before any of that's addressed for the Seminoles specifically, what do we do on stat? Like, I understand this team is probably going at worst. This team finishes with 8 wins, right? And any of us would have took 8 wins. I predicted 9, but if you would have told me 8, I would have been like, "Hey, I'm with it," right? So at worst, this team's going to finish with 8 wins. But I think we all would agree. We know a couple, and I see one name already, but we know some staff changes that have to be made. Do we really want to stand pat? I don't think we can afford to. I think at some point you got to mix this thing up. Okay, if we believe that Mike is a good coach, a good play caller, a good offensive mind, which he's showing, right? If we think Alex Atkins is your ace recruiter, your O-line developer, right? A leader of men, which he's shown. Well, you got to pair those two up with something. Ron, I'm cool. We can keep Ron. We can keep most of this offensive staff. Well, I won't say most. Honestly, we can keep Mike's not going anywhere, right? So honestly, we can keep Alex. Alex probably deserves an extension, if anything. You keep Ron Dugans. But Yak, Tokars isn't going anywhere. But I would not look. I don't want to be completely hard on Coach Yak. The thing about Yak, man, it's going to be interesting is if we flip Baxter, now Yak has I don't know who you credit with that recruitment. I would actually have to look. Hell, I might look it up right now because usually when these guys on their recruiting profile, it'll tell you who's recruiting them at the school. So let's look up Cedric Baxter and let's see if, and I know he's committed. but there's a chance it'll show you who was recruiting him. Where's Baxter? He's committed to Texas. There he is. So it shows Florida State there, but it doesn't show, like, it shows that Tashard Choice is recruiting him at Texas. Alabama's got 2 people recruiting him. It doesn't show who's recruiting him at Florida State. And I was just curious about that because I was going to talk about Coach Yak. But see, here's my thing. And see, I knew this argument, and these arguments come up. But the running backs are going to produce, folks. If you think Yak is the reason why the running backs run the football well, you're overplaying a running back coach. Like, you're overvaluing that. You're overvaluing a running back coach. I'm just going to be honest with you. What we need at that running back position is somebody you can pair with Alex Atkins on the trail and y'all can go recruit some elite stuff. That's what we need. And Yak has not been that. Now, that's why I said, if he gets Baxter, now that conversation quiets, right? If you give him credit for Baxter, that conversation quiets because I can't, just like with Dugan. Dugan's got Hakeem. I shut the hell up, right? I ain't said nothing else. But if you think Yak is responsible, I think Yak is a good coach. I'm capping. Before the season, nobody was saying Coach Yak was a good. That's the funny thing about. That's the funny thing about winning. They say winning cures all. Trey Benson and nobody was saying Yak coaches him up last year with Jay-Sean Corbin, who had a good season. We ran the ball well last year. But if we came into the season, most people would tell you, well, Yak was here to open pipelines to Louisiana. That's his pipeline state. Like, every coach has their area in the country or in the state of Florida they recruit. Well, Yak is supposed to have the Louisiana pipeline. Who we done recruited from Louisiana, people? Don't tell them nothing, Lewis. They know everything. They know everything. But every coach is responsible for an area. My question is, Dustin Hill. That's his claim to fame. But serious. That's his claim to fame, bro. No, I'm not getting off the discussion. Nope, I ain't getting off the discussion. This is what we do. We get so tied to a coach because of 1 year of great production. Serious question for anybody here. Do you think Coach Yak is responsible for Trey Benson just being bigger than, just being a physical specimen? I'm just curious. Okay, so Ja'Kai Douglas, who was a 2020 guy, and since then we haven't got anybody but Ja'Kai Douglas. Thank you, Champs 99. But I'm asking a serious question. You think Yak had anything to do with Trey Benson? I'm just asking the question. Yeah, Corey Wren. Okay, so a guy that never played a snap for us and transferred out. Thank you. So 2 guys from Louisiana. One guy, a damn good guy, a guy that I'm a fan of, and Ja'Kai, and another guy who never done anything at the school. If Coach Yak was so great, why he couldn't coach up Corey Wren? I'm glad you brought that name up, 904. Because I'm just asking questions. Can you really gonna coach up Corey Wren, or is Corey Wren just what Corey Wren is? You think Yak? So why couldn't Yak help Corey Wren? Just asking. Yak gets a credit. Why? Because he squirts them with a water gun at practice? I'm being dead serious, like, when I'm talking about this. Wren is just a track guy. But y'all said he could coach him up, though. Why couldn't he coach him up? You're right. Wren just a track guy. Why couldn't he coach him up to be a running back, though? Or is a running back a running? Like, man, I've said this before. If y'all think Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, Dalvin Cook, you think these guys were coached up, man? They were who they were, bro. Running back is the one position where you can look at a player and go, yeah, that's what he is. You think Trent Richardson didn't get coached up at Bama? That's why he went to the league and was terrible. Because he just was what he was, man. Derrick Henry is all 6'4", 250 for a reason. He was what he was. Ricky Williams, I can go on the list. I'll get off of Yak. The point is, Ren is a project. But why didn't he coach him up? Whatever. I'll get off of it. I would move on from Coach David Johnson, because you can upgrade the position. You can't convince me that he's done anything at that position. Hell, up until this class, he ain't even signed a running back. The man signed Corey Wren, who ain't on the team, Ja'Kai Douglas, who I love, and Byron Turner, who's still yet to see what he is, right? We still have to wait and see what he is. You need to stuff a major recruiter at the running back coach. That's just what it is. And I'm gonna get off Yak. And he's supposed to be your head of recruiting. So it is what it is. I'm wrong, and we want to hold on to dear life to Coach Yak because there's something in him that we see. I'm not sure what it is, but Yak has a cool nickname. I agree, he does have a cool nickname, and maybe that's why we like him so much. I think the running backs are going to produce. Mike Norvell was churning out running backs at Memphis without Coach Yak. Mike Norvell's going to churn out running backs at Florida State without Coach Yak. Florida State was churning out running backs to Chris. Why was Jimbo able to rotate running back coaches all the time? And he had the Chris Thompsons of the like. And man, I can go down the list. No, I know you're not, Tyler. I know you're not. I absolutely know you're not. I know you're not. We're on the same page. The point is, I'm just getting the point across. Maybe to get some of you guys' gears turning. But some of you get emotional with this stuff, and you think that we're gonna go 8-4, 9-3. We just got to hold on to every guy. Look, the good programs, they don't stay stagnant. Okay, you can win a bunch of games and still make changes. That's what good programs. Hell, that's what good business does. You don't stay stagnant. You continue to bring in coaches and improve. That's a position I would upgrade if had the chance. Okay. And then tight end coach. I know Mike Norvell values Chris Thompson. I'm not saying fire Chris Thompson off the staff. Whatever value he brings that Mike Norvell is so appreciative of, keep him on staff. Make him your chief of staff or something. Give him a behind the scenes, off the field job where he can still be whatever it is. But that's another place, tight end coach, right? Now y'all definitely can't cap for tight ends because the tight ends ain't been productive and we ain't been recruiting them. That's a place you can store another elite recruiter, the tight end position, right? Ultimately, if you look at the system we run, we have a system. That tight ends can flourish. We just got to infuse some talent into that room, and then I think tight ends. I think tight ends will be a lot better. So there's that. So I think those are two positions that I think Florida State has to address the coaching staff going, who would do the strip drill. I'm pretty sure whoever you hire can continue to do the strip drill. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Oh, again, so are we giving Chris Thompson credit for the O-line, or are we giving Alex Atkins credit? Because last time I checked, he's a tight end coach. Alex Atkins was the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator. I'm just curious because every O-line that we've recruited never mentions Chris Thompson. They always mention Atkins. So I just have questions. I feel like we're going to cap for every coach on the staff tonight. That's cool, though. Polk, you said get rid of Odell. We didn't get rid of Odell. So I don't know what your problem is, man. Chill with the coach. See, Panama, if you want to stay stagnant, that's okay. Shout out to Odell Hagan. My stance on Odell hasn't changed. You still look at the recruiting. It's still mid. Or should I say, we recruiting a lot of project players at defensive tackle that we just have to wait a year or two for, like Joshua Farmer. Good to see him come along. We only had to put 40, 50 pounds on him and then, wait for him to come along, but that's fine. My point on Odell wasn't wrong. It's still not wrong. I don't care what you say. It's not wrong. Check the recruiting rankings and show me where's the instant impact guys that he used to recruit 5, 6, 7 years ago. Hell, 5's a little bit too early. 7, 8, 9 years ago. I'm sorry. I did a whole video on Odell, man. You can hold on to the old stuff all you want. The facts are the facts. He don't recruit the same caliber anymore. So we have to turn to recruiting oversized DNs. And what do you think they're trying to do? People ask me all the time, where's Chambry Jackson at? Where do you think he is? They're trying to put weight on him to move him to defensive tackle. For some guys, it works. For some guys, it never comes to fruition. I did a whole video on Odell. And what did we talk about the whole video? Not what he did in developing. He don't recruit him. You don't recruit him anymore. So I wasn't wrong on Odell. But I didn't even get to the defensive side. And I'm not even asking for Odell's job. So I've moved past that. I've come to the realization that Odell's going to be at Florida State as long as he wants to. And he deserves that. And he should be. I'm not. You bringing up old stuff. We on the new stuff. So that's the offensive side of the ball. I think you can stand to upgrade 2 spots there. On the defense gets a little bit more tricky because, like I just was saying, Odell isn't going anywhere. Yes, we are. But, of course, nobody wants to upgrade any position. Nobody. They think just because we 7-3 right now that this team can't improve anywhere. But, yeah, we are talking about upgrading the staff, which I think is essential if we want to continue to grow as a program. Hey, that's all I'm saying. What's up, CJ? Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not talking about Odell, because we know he's not going anywhere. That's not true at all. That is like you do we want to go down the list? Because that's not true. In our minds as Florida State fans, we think that playing in the ACC, we think Joshua Farmer's outperforming any 5-star. But do we really want to go look at the list of 5-star guys that came out of last year or the year before? Actually, not last year. Let's go to the year that Joshua Farmer came out. And do we really want to go down that list and say Joshua Farmer is better than this guy, this guy? Because I think you might be sadly disappointed, Champs 99, if we actually did that. Let's just be happy that he's playing well for us. And but it took him a year or 2. He's still not a finished product, which is okay. I'm not knocking Joshua Farmer. The point is, it's no coincidence that we was winning that we were winning natties and winning 20, 30 games straight, whatever it was, when Eddie Goldman and Timmy Jernigan and Niles Lawrence Stamper, when those guys were in the trenches, Derek Nandi, that's not a coincidence. But we'll continue. We used to. That's my point. And this isn't even necessarily a Jordan Hall thing, but man, y'all turned this to an Odell thing, and I wasn't even. It's sad that y'all turned this into an Odell thing, and I honestly wasn't even going there. Like, I was not going to call for Odell's job. I have no issues with the job he's done this year. No issues. No issues. I was not going to go for Odell's head. I promise you I wasn't. I was defensively. JP, I think he's probably been the best coach on the defensive side of the ball. Fuller, after this defense, I mean, you're fielding a top 10 defense. Literally, it's the number 11 defense in the nation. I just say top 10 because obviously it sounds better. But you're fielding a fringe top 10 defense. Like, Fuller's not going anywhere. I think Fuller's success, honestly, I think it has a lot. Like you say, Randy Shannon's mid. At recruiting, yes. But I hate to say this, because I think Randy is one of the pivotal reasons why the defense is what it. I think it's no coincidence that the linebacker play has been absolutely stellar this year. When you go watch the linebackers under the previous linebacker coach with the same players and Deloach and Amari Gaynor and Lundy, he had the same guys, right? Outside of Tatum Bethune. And I know Tatum Bethune brought a lot to that room. Don't get me wrong. I just think Randy, man, I don't know if you can afford to leave Adam Fuller there. I think that co-DC title is one of the reasons for its success. You can even go to look at last year, and once Randy got that on the field, the defense kind of made a lot of improvements, right? Obviously, Woodson is he's the sore thumb there. The DBs have underperformed this year as a whole, and the recruiting for so-called DBU has been absolutely terrible. It's like Travis Hunter took Woodson's soul. It's pretty apparent, right, that Hunter took Woodson's soul because he hasn't been in anything of relevance since. So obviously Woodson. I don't want to really say Randy. I do think Randy got to up the recruiting game. We used to recruit big time linebackers. We used to recruit big time linebackers, so we got to get that under control. Panama says recruiting is our biggest issue right now, not talent development outside of our DBs. I mean, you're not wrong, but you have to have talent to develop it, though. You know, the notion that you can take all these 3-stars and turn them into, come on, that's not realistic. Now JP has been one of your better recruiters especially on the defense. Well, we're not 3-7, we're 7-3. Again, champ, that's where we can agree to disagree on where the 5 stars are going and where they're not going. Because I already know what I'm gonna say to rebuttal this, and you're just gonna rebuttal with, well, they're paying players. That's where we are right now. Because I'm gonna go watch. Let's test my theory. I'm gonna say, well, Texas didn't have a problem with the loser season getting 5-star players. You know, I'm gonna say, well, look what Miami's doing right now. Now we'll see if that sticks. But look at that. Losing season, or I think they're 500 now. They got 2 5-stars committed. You know, Lane Kiffin didn't have a problem recruiting. I can name some schools that, weren't having great seasons, but were able to recruit and now are having good seasons. And you're just going to say, well, those schools are paying players. You see, so the conversation doesn't going to really get us anywhere. Like I've always said, recruiters recruit, and people told me when we start winning, we start seeing upgrades on recruiting. So we'll see. I'm simply talking about staff changes that I think is pivotal for Florida State to make. If you really, here, let's do this. Thank you, Loke. Thank you, Loke. I'm glad somebody said it. Thank you. And that's going back to the running back conversation. People act like Yak is the sole reason why. Again, I mean, we can enjoy the season. This isn't a negative. I don't know why we feel like this is a negative conversation. This isn't a negative conversation. Seriously, I don't think this is a negative. This is simply stating like, okay, we're on the path to be where we want to be. Let's talk about making changes. It's not a negative conversation. This is a conversation that has to be had. Why do we want to avoid this conversation? Oh, I'm all on Patrick Payton, but see, Patrick Payton was a 4-star coming out. He had all the measurables, the fast twitch. He just had to get the weight on him. Woodson, Thompson. Yeah, those are the 3 for me as well. Like, and I don't know why we can't have this conversation, man. I don't understand why we can't have the conversation. It's okay to have the conversation of like, man, we on the right track. We going where we want to go. Well, let's continue to put new parts on the machine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you got a race car, you don't just keep it stock. You upgrade your parts, you upgrade your engine. You know, I'm not a car guru, but y'all know what I'm saying. I play Need for Speed, damn it, and I know I used to upgrade my cars all the time on Need for Speed. And that's okay. It's not a bad conversation to have. This isn't a negative conversation. It's just a fact. Listen, if you think that Florida State should not make any changes to the staff this offseason, type 1. If you think Florida State should look to upgrade the staff in some areas, press 2. I'm just curious to see. I didn't think this was a negative conversation, but apparently I've ruffled some feathers. I honestly thought this was going to be like a productive conversation. I'm curious to see what y'all got to say. I really don't, you know, I don't know. I don't know. So I got 1-1. And now I'm confused with what I said. What did I say? I said if you wanted to stay pat with the staff, roar, right? It's roar. So you want to stay stagnant with the staff. If that is cool, but your comments confusing me because up here you're like, you wanted to upgrade the staff. It's a good thing we did good enough this year to make staff changes, but you pressed 1 to say that you wanted to stay pat. Now you're kind of saying the opposite here. Because I'm pretty sure for number 2, that's why I'm confused. Because for number 2, I think I said like, I don't know. Maybe I said the wrong thing. Okay, so we're on the same page. Just want to make sure. We can have the conversation, but coaching changes within 10-win season after what we saw this year. I personally think every coach can stay another year. Just me is all good. Again, that's fine. You're allowed to think that way. I'm not necessarily saying that train of thought is wrong, but I'm just going to push back with this one and we can move on to the next topic, which I want to get into the portal and what our portal needs should be. But I'll push back with this. Do you think Nick Saban stays stagnant? We know the answer, but I'm just curious. You think Nick Saban stays stagnant every year? And we're going to use Nick because Nick's the greatest coach of his generation. But do you think Nick Saban stays stagnant every year? Or do we know for a fact that every year he moves and adds pieces? Coaches come and leave to his staff, and yet the results tend to stay the same. So I'm interested. Do you think that Nick Saban stays stagnant every year? Because we know the answer. So I don't know why we have to. Thank you for your service, but we can upgrade. And you know what? Because we went 9 wins, you could probably find a decent job elsewhere. But we can still upgrade. That's all. I mean, I guess so. I don't think he's done a bad. I don't think he's done a bad job. Right? I think we can all agree he's done obviously, you know, having Micah Pittman fielding punts. We got to get the kicker situation eventually fixed, but I guess he's done a good job. I mean, I don't think you waste a coaching spot on strictly the special teams, right? So I don't know. They're happy with landing the 22 ranked class and then developing them, I guess. I guess that's what we're happy with. That's fine though. I gave Tony Kokars this year off. It's his first year on field. I think he's done a great job with Jordan Travis, but next year he needs, and we know we got actually a pretty damn good quarterback in next year's class. So, but Tony's got to start producing on the trail, obviously, as well. Your first year, I was just very intrigued to see how he developed Jordan Travis, and it's been outstanding to see. I think Tony Tokarz, in my opinion, should get a lot of props for developing JT, or at least being helping along. Obviously, JT gets a ton of just props for putting in the work, but somebody had to coach him, right? Crow and Scott. I would love to get if you can get Jeff Scott as like your tight end coach, man, that is a win, bro.
Daddy, can I go potty?
Yeah, go. Who's trying to fire both coordinators? No, I don't think Fuller's going anywhere. Ernie Sims intrigues me, but again, I don't know if you let Randy go. What would be dope if you could convince Ernie to like come be an off-field coach for a year or two. Which, by the way, those off-field coaches also do coach like at practice and on the field. But officially be an off-field coach. Like that's what the Bamas of the world do. They convince coaches to come be an analyst for a year and then bam, take a job. That will lead me to my last point with a hurdle. And since we've been talking about this staff this whole time, like at what point can we give this program? Can Mike Alford can he give Mike enough resources where we can increase the size of our off the field staff, right? It's another reason why the Bamas and the Georgias and the Ohio States are so successful. Not just the on-field coaches that but it's the ones off field that would most likely be coaching on field somewhere that's bringing a ton of value to the program. Can we get Ernie Sims to coach off field for us until it's time for him to maybe take a Randy Shannon's job? Randy Shannon's kind of old. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we do we get the support for a bigger off field staff is going to be huge. Will be huge going forward. I would love to see it. I think I personally speak for everybody. I think we're past Luke Altmaier at this point. First of all, he was a Dilly guy, not a Tony Tokarz guy. At least I don't think he was. But I think we're past Luke Altmaier at this point. I'll take AJ. Take AJ. It's hard, though. It's hard when what did he only win? He only won like 3 games at USF. So that's hard for him to get another head coaching job. Sometimes you got to humble yourself. Lane Kiffin was probably looking for another head coaching job after USC. He wasn't that terrible at USC. But what did he do? He kind of humbled himself, went OC route, and then went back to the head. Jeff Scott should, it's hard to get another head coaching job when you only win 3 games at USF in like 3 years or whatever this record. It was not a lot of games. He won like 3 or 4 games his time there. Maybe an OC job he can get. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, Bama is trying to fire both coordinators. Oh. Drew Novak, is that a player I should know? Nico, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Both of them can stay where they're at. They need to bump up Luke's. I mean, he's early. He'll be fine. I think he'll definitely be. I think, is he not a 4-star already? But he'll probably definitely be a 4-star next year. But let's move to the portal, man. I don't want to talk because I guess I ruffled some feathers on the coaching talk. For whatever reason, we're just a little bit apprehensive when it comes to talking some change, and I personally think change is a good thing, and that's okay. But the portal, man, this is being rumored to be one of maybe the up until this point, maybe the craziest portal year that we're going to see. There's supposed to be some huge names. Some of those names, haven't been revealed yet, right? So we got to wait and see what happens in this portal. I expect us, as always, to be involved. I mean, if he hits the portal, there's no way you don't try. I don't know where he goes. I don't know. I've seen a lot of Marvin Jones Jr. They must be hearing this from somewhere. I don't know where they're hearing it from. I haven't heard, like, again, there's a lot of buzz, but no official names have dropped yet. But from the people in the business, your 247s, your on threes, your Wilfongs, these guys are all hinting. Again, without dropping any names, but these guys are all hinting that the portal is going to catch fire here and catch fire very shortly. Like, there's going to be some big names out there. Whether that's if Amarius Mims hits the portal again, that I mean, man, come on. But whether that's some players that we know because we recruited them, or whether it's just some big time guys out there, it's going to be interesting to see. The question is, what should we be targeting when it's time to talk this portal? What should it be? What position should we be targeting? So we're going to talk about that, and then that'll pretty much close us out, because I know, man, it's kind of getting late on the East Coast, because it's kind of getting late here for a Tuesday, right? So let's just run through it, right? Let's just run through it. Obviously, if we don't get a high school quarterback, which I'm not sure we do or not, I'm not sure we do or not. I think when we talking quarterback, it's all dependent on if JT, because I always say this. Hold on one second. I think quarterback all depends on if JT comes back. I say this all the time about the Jarrett version. I say this all about the transfer portal quarterbacks. They are normally not coming to a team to sit the bench. Most of your transfer quarterbacks, most of them, 90% of them, I'll say. Obviously, that's a number I made up, but I think you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. They're usually transferring, for one, because they're not getting playing time at the school that unless you're Chubba Purdy, who's a whatever. But you transfer because you're not playing at one school, so you can go to an opportunity to play at another school. So you're not really coming. If JT's here, I don't think you get a portal kid, right? I think if JT stays, I think your quarterback room looks exactly the same. If JT stays, Duffy, Tate, and JT. I don't think you add anybody in the portal. Hopefully you can get somebody. If JT's staying, hopefully you can't get a high school kid that you can sit for a year and let compete with the other three. Obviously, you're not taking a running back. Whether or not you get Baxter or not, you're not taking a running back. You're pretty much already taking your running back with Keziah Holmes, because he's not eligible this year anyway. So you've pretty much already taken your running back again. And if you get Baxter, but you already have another running back that's already committed. So either way, you're adding at least one running back to this stable, not counting Holmes. If you count Holmes, you've already added two running backs to the stable. No need to waste anything on a running back. Wide receiver is the reason why you took four last year, all with multiple years of eligibility. And you got a pretty damn good wide receiver class coming in this year. They might even try to take another receiver in the high school ranks. I don't think you wait, unless I would say this with the wide receiver room. I wouldn't waste scholarship, unless there's a special talent, unless there's somebody special out there in the portal who's interested in Florida State, right? Like somebody that you just couldn't pass up. And off the top of my head, I couldn't think of the name, but we'll know him once he hits the portal, believe me. And so unless that guy hits the portal, I wouldn't waste your time. Tight end is a position they should look to add in the portal, in my opinion. You're going to lose Cam McDonald. And then once you lose him, that tight end room gets extremely young. Marcus and Douglas just got his first sniff of playing time this year, and where there's some things there that I like. He's still pretty raw. And then he also has to just show that he has the consistent work ethic. Because remember, that was a player that he was 5 pounds away from being an O lineman. And yeah, he worked it off, but now can you keep it off, and continue to do the right things with Marcus and Douglas? I mean, you're putting a lot on an unranked prospect in Jabril Powers at tight end and Brian Courtney, who was unranked at one point. Like, you're putting a lot of stock into those two project tight ends, along with Marcus and Douglas, who really was another project tight end. And then a walk-on in Preston Daniels, and Wyatt Rector's probably gone, and Wyatt's never been they've never really used him as a tight end, more of like a gadget player, H-back player. They line him up in a wildcat every now and then. So I don't know if you really even count Wyatt Rector, right? And then Jackson, who we got? Who's the other guy we got? Jackson Wester, is that who we got? We got another guy out there who tight end, man. If you can get a legit tight end in the portal, you take him. You get a legit tight end in the portal, you take him. Maybe even 2. Like, seriously, if I'm Mike, I'm probably looking at the tight end position fairly strong, because we see that tight ends can flourish in this offense. You just need a talented one. You just need a one that can play. And I like Marcus and Douglas, but yeah, a room full of nothing. Right. I mean, that's just the truth, bro. Right. And I hate to say it, but I won't say nothing. Maybe nothing's a strong word, but just a room full of unproven things, just a room full of stuff. And maybe you find value in some of that stuff, but as right now, it's just stuff. And then, so look, I would look for a tight end or 2. So again, don't worry about running back. Don't worry about receiver unless the right one shows up. If JT comes back, you're not looking at quarterback. If he doesn't come back, then I think you're looking at quarterback. And then offensive line, yeah, they're gonna take Atkins. Atkins is gonna take. He's gonna take 2 at minimum. I don't know if they really have to dive into the portal. I mean, because you're getting Bless Harris back, right? You're going to get Bless back. And then, Julian Armella's like Andrew Parchment. Yeah, not Andrew Parchment. Then the guys we recruited, they'll be a year younger. I mean, what is the growth of a Estes and a Schrader and a Herring? Armella, Lloyd Willis. We got guys. Dante Richardson, Kanaya Charlton, right? Bless Harris comes back as kind of your veteran. Maurice Smith will be back. There's a chance Robert Scott, if Robert Scott comes back, that'd be a blessing. I'm not too sure about Robert, but Robert could come back. But I think at a minimum, you take 2 offensive linemen, probably 1 tackle and one guy on the inside, right? I would take one of each. And the more bodies there, as we know, the better, because guys get hurt, guys go down. So, I would take at a minimum 2. I wouldn't be surprised if they take another 3 or 4 in the portal. Would not be surprised. Moving to the defensive side of the ball. Does anyone here not think AJ can win the job next year? He could. Here's the thing. He absolutely could. I would still bring in a transfer guy just, and if AJ wins, he wins. But I got to bring in somebody with some experience. Bro, I don't even know where Joshua Burrell plays anymore. Remember? He was a wide receiver, and they moved him to running back. And is he even still in that running back room? I don't know where Burrell plays. Burrell could be a guy that hits the portal. I hate to say it because I'm a fan of his, but where does he play? What position is Joshua Burrell? Do we think we're moving him to tight end? Yeah, if JT leaves, you have to get a portal guy, right? You can't have two QBs on the roster. That's a failure. I agree with that. Yeah, I saw the UF kid on campus already. He's a big boy. I think he's more of a guard, but he's a big boy. Could be like the replacement for Dylan Gibbons, if because we think Early and Sapp are going to be good players, but that doesn't mean they're going to be ready next year. Not everybody. I think Armella's going to be ready to play next year. Whether he starts or not, we'll see who we get in the portal. Armella could even play inside if they want him to. But some people actually project he'll be a better guard than the tackle. But with that said, Armella's probably going to play next year. But maybe an earlier Sapp need another year. I'm almost positive Dontre Richardson and Kanai Charlton are going to need another year. And that's fine. Everybody's not, everybody doesn't that everybody just doesn't need a red shirt. They might need a red shirt and another year, right? Mike Novilla to move and take average talent. FSU team looked good on offense all years, even with the L's we took. I don't wholeheartedly agree with that. If you want to talk about this year, then I agree to an extent. Because I don't know if we're average. I think you're discounting the actual talent we have, which isn't fair to the talent. I think we're a more talented team than y'all are giving credit for. And if you want to talk about last year, yeah, I think you guys watched last year. No one would call our offenses stellar. Yeah, but everybody's body's different is my point, right? I don't have any worries about our strength and conditioning. I'm not insinuating that. I just think sometimes we get caught up in certain things and don't. Everybody's different. Some guys ready day one. Some guys it takes a year or two. Doesn't mean you can't be a great player in the end. It's only the point I'm making. Burrell and Travis J are two players I believe can get something out of. I could be wrong. I'm interested to see what they do with Travis J. I don't think AJ's given, and I know it's just the nature of the beast. So I understand where the question's coming from. Like we've been so conditioned to think that, well, if a kid doesn't play right away, he's hitting the portal, But hey, man, hush. We've been so conditioned to think that if a kid doesn't play right away, like he's hitting the portal. But Kyle Trask sat for years, and it turned out pretty good for him. Everybody. It all depends on the person, right? AJ hasn't given me a hint of like he has to see the field now or he's gone. But that's just me. But let's move on to the defense side. Again, I don't think Simmons is a day one guy personally. Lloyd Willis is still on the team, man. He's in the rotation. He played Saturday. He played against Cuse. What's up, Dan Squatch? Rodor's still on the team. I don't think he got any playing time, but he's still on the team. Let's move to defense. I like our young, I think Pat Payton's the future. But just because Pat Payton's the future don't mean you can't pair him with something great. Because I've heard some people say, why are we so worried about Verse leaving when you got Patrick Payton emerging? You're not wrong, but why can't we have both of them? Like, can you imagine that? Like, Verse on one side and Pat on the other side? I get the notion of, well, we can lose Verse and then we got another guy coming. You're not wrong. But there's no rule that says we only get to have one or the other. So as far as I'm concerned, you try to keep Verse all you want. And if Verse stays, I don't really, again, unless a special guy, because you're never going to turn down pass rushers are the premium, right? Pass rushers are the premium. So you're never going to turn down an elite one. And if there's an elite one in the portal, who says, "Hey, I'm interested in Florida State," then you listen and you try to convince them, right? But I don't think it's you don't need to go out there and like, you know what I'm saying, try to find like a diamond in the rough. Like, no offense to Kier, because Kier was great for us. But you don't need to go out there and find a Kier. Like, because you remember Kier coming in, a lot of us didn't think he was. You're talking about a guy 6'2", 270, had 4 sacks in 3 years at South Carolina. There wasn't really a lot of expectations on Kier Thomas. Now, it turned out great. Don't get me wrong. Again, no knock on Kier Thomas. Just the point I'm making is you don't need to go out there and fish for something that, right? You don't need to go out there and take, if you scout a guy and you think he can contribute, then by all means take him. But I don't think DN is a necessity. A lot of people thought he was going to be mid, right? And I'll gladly admit I was wrong. But you don't have to go out there and fish for anything. If an elite one comes along, you absolutely. Or if you scout a guy and you think, because for every Kier Thomas, we also took in a Marcus Cushney. You know what I'm saying? So you guys get my point. Like, yeah, if we got Jermaine Johnson, we got a Jermaine and we got a Jarrett Verse, but we also took Cushney and some guys that didn't quite do anything for it. So, yes, I know you got Pat. I want to pair him with Verse. If Verse leaves, then you definitely go out there and try to find something opposite. Yes, you're getting Keldrick Falk. Yes, you're getting Boots, which is awesome. But those are going to be true freshmen. I want to pair Pat up with somebody who's going to contribute right away. But if Verse comes back and you got Pat, again, you take it if somebody elite comes along, but I think you kind of set at DN. D tackles where you probably want to hit the portal and take about 2 guys. That's not a knock on the guys that you got, but the guys that you got after Fabian Lovett and Cooper are leaving, you don't really have anybody at defensive tackle that's shown that they can be an every down player for you, right? These guys have been pretty good. I don't care. Those guys have been pretty good rotations. If you can get defensive tackles, some big time defensive tackles in the portal to come in and anchor and just compete, right? I'm not saying you got to guarantee them a start, but D tackle rotation is so important because those are guys you got to rotate bodies in those. Those guys take a beating, we know. And Joshua Farmer would be a year better. I think you're getting. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're getting Jarrett Jackson back, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think his playing time is he hurt or is his playing time just completely dwindled? Is Jackson hurt or is his playing time has he just been leaped over by the likes of Joshua Farmer and Daniel Lyons has been getting more playing time, right? I think those guys are good players. Don't get me wrong, but you definitely add to that room if you can. Add some big bodies, add some space eaters for sure. Dan Squat says, bro, Pat Payne has a high ceiling, but I think he's further from it than Farmer. We might see 44 play some serious ball. He's had a high quality game rap since basically day one. I wouldn't say that. That Louisville game, he struggled extremely. He has turned it around with all credit to him. He's turned it around. 44 has been playing great, but Pat Payne, every time he's on the field, he ticks a stat in some stat box, whether it's a deflected pass, a sack, a fumble, a forced fumble. I don't know. I understand that you're talking 2 different positions. So a lot of things that 44 does ain't going to show up on the stat sheet, but Farmer wasn't big time from day one. He struggled in that go watch that Louisville game. He didn't even know. He played like he had never been on a football field before. Complete 180 since, though. He's been absolutely great since. Yeah, absolutely. There's no way. McClendon. Hey, I'm all for it. I think that's another great body to add to the room, but you're also talking about a guy who hasn't played college football. So, yes, big body. Happy for his future. I think Tafasi is going to be a man-child. I also think it's a little bit wishful thinking to think of, at he won't be a true freshman technically, but he'll be a true freshman, you know, to expect him to come in and be dominant. Maybe a better way of saying is 44 will play his best ball as soon as next year. Pat had the big time off season to get near his frame ceiling. Farmer's more okay. He got leaped or is he hurt? See, people saying Jackson's hurt. That's why I was just curious. Is he hurt or is he just got benched? Like, I hope we do. Every time he's on the field. I think we're all tired of seeing Tate. We want to see. If they put him in, I just want to see him. Like the few times we've seen Duffy, man, they ain't really let him throw that thing. I think we just want to see what Duffy looks like throwing the ball. I know that's what I want to see. You did miss the whole show. It's okay, bro. You can go back and watch it. And then backer. Let's wrap this up. We did D and D line backer. You're probably adding some linebackers, especially if both of your starters leave. If Deloach and Bethune go, yeah, you probably adding a backer. And you probably adding a couple. Even for depth purposes, right? You probably adding at least two. You'll be getting Steven Dix back from injury, but you know, Steven Dix hasn't exactly been the best player his time here. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. If they don't, you're bringing in Blake Nicholson, you're bringing in DeMarco Ward. I would, even if they don't transfer, I would still bring in a linebacker, and I would bring in what I would try to locate, if you could, like a redshirt sophomore linebacker, a guy with 3 years of eligibility. I mean, I'll take a redshirt junior too. Just give me a guy with, even if Deloach and Bethune do stay, and I think Gaynor has another year of eligibility, believe it or not. I feel like Gaynor's been here for 8 years. And then Gant has another year of eligibility. So you got some guys that can come back. But I would still maybe see if you could add, like, Gant's not a true backer. I honestly think they were a year too late. And I was calling for Gant to be moved to backer again 2 years ago. I think they're a year too late on Gant. He's like playing the position right now at like 190 pounds. I don't know how much you really gonna add to Gant in this offseason. Maybe you get him up to 200 if you're lucky, right? Gaynor's still going to be there, but I probably would still see if I can get a true linebacker in the portal, regardless of just one. I don't care if Deloach or Bethune leave or not. I would still add one to the room. I think Hester's more of a DN than a backer, personally. And I think that's how they're going to use him. But we'll see. But I don't think Aaron Hester is a true backer. Oh, I'm a big Brendan Gant fan. I mean, that guy's playing 190 and he's playing out there playing linebacker and he's hitting, you know. And then DB. Barring some crazy type of closeout on draft day, on National Signing Day, I think you got to add to the DB room. Like, you're going to lose Jamie. You're going to lose Dent. Yeah, I like Shaheem. Sam McCall's going to get the opportunity that he's been waiting for to get on that field. But you're also going to be losing another safety in Jaquez McClellan, who kind of goes unsung, right? But he gets a lot of burn in that secondary as well. You're going to lose 3 safeties off rip. You probably don't lose a DB, but then again, you're probably going to have at least one transfer out of that room too. I think McCall stays, but I think Demore Tate at this point, I don't see how Demore Tate. I don't see how Demore Tate stays. I don't see how he stays. Was Jerrion Jones hurt against Syracuse? Somebody tell me, because I didn't see Jerrion Jones play against Miami, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure he played against Miami, Georgia Tech, or Cuse. I don't remember off the top, but I know there's at least 2 games I remember that I didn't see number 7 on the field. I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if he's just hurt or if they're finally like, yeah, you're done. And he's already transferred to here. I would probably take about 3 DBs out of the portal. I don't even think I'm like exaggerating there. Right? I think 3 DBs out of the portal. If nothing else for depth. I think Ronaldo comes back. AZ's gonna come back. Greedy comes back. Knowles come back. So those are kind of like your top guys. But then you need something behind that, and we don't have anything behind those guys, in my opinion. So I forgot about Sydney, but I don't know. There's been talks of him going down the linebacker. I don't know. That's right. He did get a holding call. You're right. Right. Agreed. Demore Tate, I think everybody's disappointed, right? Do you think DB coach? Oh, Kenny, please go watch the beginning of the show. I ruffled a lot of feathers apparently with my takes on DB coach isn't the only position I think we could upgrade. So if you're interested in that, I'm not going to rehash it, man. Go watch the first 30 minutes or so, and I talked about all of that. I'm not going to get into that right now, Jen, but the best player is probably Lucas Simmons and Hakeem Williams. I think I believe it or not, and Lucas Simmons is a very high rated, and I actually think he's still underrated. Kirkland and Rawls, yikes. I mean, yeah, bro. yeah. Yeah, bro. Yeah. That's, no knock on either one of those guys. I actually like Kirkland. I actually like the Kirkland player. To be honest with you, and Rawls has had a good season, but yeah. I think the sheer lack of development at corner is enough to move a DB coach. Feel ya? George Wilson is a guy who's played a couple times this year, man. He wears number 52 if you haven't saw him. He has the frame. Like, if you haven't watched George Wilson, he has the frame, but he only is like a 215 pounds. So he's got to get a ton of weight on him. But he pops off as your scream as far as he's super long. Like, he looks like a basketball player out there, right? If they can get some weight on him, George Wilson could be a very sneaky surprise. No, Kirtland's not bad. Like I said, I actually like that take personally, but if he's your best DB prospect, bro, yeah. You have to. That's my point. And Fuller's only saving his job, guys. And I can't call for Fuller's job because the defense is a top 11 defense, right? Top 11. So you can't call for Fuller's job. But, man, I would like to see Adam Fuller recruit somebody. Jesus Christ. I would like to. Does anybody want to play for Adam Fuller? Maybe after this year, people want to play for Adam. But that's probably my biggest knock on Adam Fuller. I think the defense has been actually pretty good all year, to be quite honest with you. There's a couple games where the offense actually let the defense down this year. But yeah, I mean, my defensive coordinators feel like he's not involved in any recruiting, bro. So that's kind of tough. Yes, you got a chance to land Amari Brown. I mean, Boots, Lamont Green Jr., one of his teammates who was committed to Georgia just decommitted. Now they're saying Penn State looks like the team there, but I mean, give it a shot. He's still on the team. Who are you going to take off the field to put Keyshawn out there? That's what we're all ready to see. But man, I thank y'all for coming in here. We're gonna end it here, man. We talked a little Louisiana, not long, but we got pretty long into the position coaches, right? Again, a conversation I didn't necessarily think was gonna go the way it went, but that's why it's good to have these conversations. Who's number 30 on offense? I saw him watching the game back. Number 30 on offense. I have no idea. Is that BJ Daniels, I think is his name. That's just off the top of the head. I think he's like a walk-on tight end. But I can look it up real quick. Because why not? FSU's roster. We'll end with this one. We're going to find out who number 30 on offense is. FSU roster. Number 30. Okay, I don't like how they got it. Hold on. Give me the roster that's like in order. Bruh, why can't I find the right roster? And I'm not even looking at the comments right now. Y'all probably have already put the answer in the comments. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. And number 30 is, yeah, DJ Dan. I said BJ Dan, but DJ Daniels. So I was absolutely right. Red shirt, sophomore, tight end. I believe he's a walk-on. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. I'm smart. I'm actually kind of smart. That's what I'm hearing. Yep. I think we're wasting our time on Brown, Bain. Both are Miami legacies with family. Well, yeah. I mean, you might be right. Might be right, bro. I'll be shocked if we get Bain. I mean, the guy calls himself Hurricane Bain. If he comes here, that nickname's got to change. but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, he's one of our 10 walk-on tight ends. But that's all I got tonight, guys. So thanks everybody who showed up and showed out. Hit that like button. I didn't even check my likes. We add up to 70 some odd people in here. A lot of them showed up late. So I got 53 likes. And I got 68 people in here. Get the likes up before you get up out of here. I would appreciate that. So if you didn't hit the like button on your way in, hit the like button on your way out. Lewis, I really appreciate that sentiment. I try, man. That's all I can say. I'm just a light-skinned dude on YouTube. Nothing I say means anything. I have no inside connections. I just come on here and give my stupid opinion. And half the time, probably shouldn't listen to anything I say. But sometimes I tend to get some things right every now and then. Who knew? But I honestly appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for showing up and appreciate you for supporting the channel. Go to bed. Give me 1 minute. He should be in the bed, guys. Like I'm about to go do. I'm about to go get in the bed. But as always, man, it's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Early game this weekend, which is great, right? We get to get Louisiana out the way and enjoy the rest. It's a noon game, so we get to get that game out the way and we can enjoy the rest of our Saturday. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that personally, to watch an early football game, watch us do what we do, and then we can get up out of here. Mr. H, if you're just tapping in, man, you're going to have to go check the show from the beginning because we about to log off. So as always, it's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. See you Saturday after the game. And we got you. Go Noles. Yep, a Bali Sports special. So tune in. We finally ain't on prime time, but it's okay. Every dog has their day. I'll catch y'all Saturday, guys. Y'all know where to find me.